Heart Day greetings to all True Diet viewers. Today we have a special guest, Dr. Anjali Agarwal, to talk about heart health. Dr. Anjali Agarwal is a physiotherapist, lifestyle consultant, a heart manual facilitator, and also a women health specialist. What is cardio and pulmonary rehab? As your specialization is into the pulmonary rehab, right? So, can you please let us
Yeah,
know something about it?
yeah. So, Mayur, I started my career as a cardiopulmonary physiotherapist. So I was looking after all lot of bypass patients and lung surgery patients and PCIs and MI patients, and would help them to come back to normal activity after an attack of heart attack or bypass. So cardiac rehab is like people think that we'll make muscles is physiotherapy, right? So
Right.
we also heart is also a muscle. Heart is also a muscle, and we also work on maintaining that muscle and giving our love and care to that muscle. If a person has had a heart disease and has had a cardiac event, if it's a heart attack or if it's had a bypass surgery where there's been a open heart surgery, the heart's value of like efficiency goes down after any kind of heart attack or any kind of surgery. So we as cardio rehab specialists or cardiopulmonary physiotherapists, we help to come to the patient right after the surgery and will help in breathing efficiency to improve and cardiac efficiency to improve for those patients right from day one. So we know the biggest culprit for a heart disease is we want to prevent blood clots in the veins. So we play a bigger role in prevention of DVT, which is called deep vein thrombosis. We start early mobilization of patients and we give them foot and ankle exercise so that the blood flow to the heart is maintained. So we have two muscles. One is the heart and one muscle is in the calf, which is called the gastrocnemius, the calf muscles. So the calf muscle is also called as the heart, second heart of the body.
Oh, second heart of
You
the body.
know, you take care of this heart. You also should take care of the heart which is in your legs.
Okay.
If the legs are not moving, the blood from the legs will not flow back to the heart. So post surgery, we look at all those aspects and we look into lot of cough gets accumulated in their lungs after a surgical process. So we do something called as pulmonary clearance techniques or chest clearance techniques after the bypass surgery. So we include lot of exercises where we can increase the lung capacity of the patient, which is breathing, axilla breathing, apical breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. And by doing that, the person is able to cough up any sputum or any mucus which gets stored in the lungs. As a result of this, the complication of getting pneumonia or chest related infections decreases after a surgical intervention. So that way, then that is the first week we do for cardiac rehab. We divide it into 4 chapters: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. After the 10th day, when the patient goes home, we ask the patient to come to our hospital or clinic based setups where we look at how the heart function is, how the BP is, how the patient is feeling with the levels of breathlessness score. So we measure the breathlessness score in the sense mean dyspnea. What does dyspnea mean? How easy it is for you to breathe and walk a mile, how difficult it is for you to climb steps, how difficult it is for you to climb out of your bed and go to the kitchen, make a cup of tea. So we look at all the functions which the patient should be able to do independently without feeling breathing difficulties. So step 1, step 2, step 3, we start giving them exercises, more added gradient exercises where their heart will start to work much better. So we give them cycling to do, stationary cycling at home. We give them incentive spirometry, where all COVID patients are also using now to increase lung efficiency. And we also give them little bit of dumbbells where they can work on their muscles. So that is part of cardiac rehab. And that is mainly when you've had a cardiac event. But when you have a pulmonary event, like people with COPDs, asthma, interstitial lung disease, lung fibrosis, pulmonary fibrosis, we do something called as a 8-week rehab program for them. And even for COVID patients, we are doing now that is called as a 8-week program. So in this program, on the first day, we test the patient's efficiency of walking. We know we put the pulse oximeter and we ask the patient to walk about, they walk around 6-minute walk test we do. We look at how much is the oxygen falling for that patient. Okay. And if the oxygen is falling below a certain level, like 97, 98, 99, and then goes beyond 94, we ask the patient to stop. But if we also, during that process of walking, we ask the patient, how is his breathing discomfort? Is he able to talk? We ask him to use the word, how are you? So if the patient is saying, he's panting, if he's panting, he's not even uttering one word, then we know that patient is having breathing difficulty. We score the patient on the basis of how the patient is able to talk to us. So we measure the quality of life of the patient also, and we ask question as to what are the things he can or she can do in the house independently. If he needs to get help from getting up of the bed, if he has to walk 2 steps, does he stop and does he pant? Does he take very big breaths to get oxygen for his lungs? So on that basis, we do a scoring and then we design a program for them. And that is an 8-week program. So in that we do strengthening exercises that which we know that the more muscles these people develop, even for COVID patients, the key thing which we are hearing is they are very fatigued, they're very tired, right? Key thing we are hearing. What we have to understand is they are tired because they get lot of muscle atrophy during the process of COVID, or any pulmonary disease will cause atrophy muscle mass, the oxygen capacity, exchange of oxygen decreases for the body. Okay. And if there is an atrophy of muscle, it also sugar levels for an individual. So the increased rate of hypertension, diabetes would happen for them. So we as physiotherapists, we have to target the lung function and also the muscle atrophy. So we work on giving them good exercises to work on their breathing control. So if they're walking 10 miles, we teach them the pattern how to breathe, how to stop, inhale, breathe, and walk. Then inhale, breathe, and stop. So that way we call them breathing control. So suppose if I'm panting, what I say is take a deep breath in, walk on 1 step, breathe out from your mouth. Then again inhale, store your oxygen, walk 1 more step, breathe out. So this is how we teach these activities to them. Even the COVID patient, this is what we are teaching now and helping them out how to get out of that fatigue syndrome. And by 8 weeks on, we have a counseling session with them where, because they get very worked up because everything, little tasks like grabbing a glass of water is difficult for them. They're feeling like they're out of breath. So we teach them how to take a glass of water, bring it back to their place, sip of water, how to time it up. And we call it called pacing the job. What is pacing? Go slow with whatever you're doing. Don't go running and don't use up all your energy at one go. So if I have to go from room A to bedroom, so I teach them how many counts of breath you will take to reach that room. Don't use up all your energy in one go. So this is how we do a lot of work around pulmonary rehab. On the 8th week, then we do a 6-minute walk test again for them. And then we measure their oxygen sats, we measure their breathing score. This would improve in this 8-week period time. So even for COVID patients, we see a marked improvement on their lung function and breathing difficulty after the 10-day of our rehab also. So we are doing some rehabs every day. Some rehabs we are doing and divided it into weeks for them. Every week we see them one by one. So this is the importance of cardiac rehab and pulmonary rehab, Mayuri.
Wow, that's great. I mean, a clear in detail explanation. So, last not but not the least, the most important, what
Yeah.
kind of physical activities that you would suggest
Yeah.
for a cardiac, any patient who is suffering any kind of cardiac related ailments. It can be heart, it can be cardiac stroke, or it can be atherosclerosis or high cholesterol. There are different categories, right? So, what general rules that you would suggest?
Yeah. So now the key important thing is we should understand the concept of eat and use up that energy, right? Whatever you consume, you should not let that calories get stored in the body for your blood pressure, for your blood sugar to be in control. And these are the main modifiable risk factors which I call. Why you can modify it? Okay, some people say I've genetically got my blood pressure and high cholesterol from my parents, from my uncle and aunt. No, I see you got to not fit into the genes, you need to fit into your genes,
Right.
right?
Right.
This is what I say, right? So you can tweak the gene, you can tweak your genes, and what you got from your grandfather, you may not get it with the lifestyle you follow. So I would say they can do a lot of pranayama, yoga, meditation, and mindfulness has been a biggest boon for controlling high blood pressure and also the sugar surge in them. If they have heart disease, we don't ask them to do vigorous exercises like lifting heavy weights and all, but we ask them to, add momentum in their bodies. Like they can do simple stationary bike about 10 minutes. For any elderly patients, I ask them to use a cycle after every lunch, breakfast, and dinner.
Okay.
So that will use up their calorie and will increase the calorie burnout. Will be very beneficial for people with diabetes and hyperinsulinemia. So that way, whatever they consume, they use up the calories. And another exercise I would ask them to add is laughter therapy. So when you use all your muscles of your mouth and you laugh, you get a lot of oxygen in your body, and that is a de-stressor and would be a beautiful exercise to do to help your cardiac patients also. And we ask them to add a lot of exercises which relates to breathing exercises, because after any cardiac event, I think patients' breathing capacities get very much getting affected. So we ask them to blow a balloon, or even you can blow a conch shell, the shank, the shank which we use in the temples. If they use that, that is also good to increase the lung function also. And I also ask them to play a mouth organ also. Very beautiful, simple things as exercise they can do every day for their cardiac efficiency and lung efficiency.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, easy to follow tips actually. Everything is available at home. We just have to make best use of it.
Yes, very much, very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you so much for being here and giving our audience such a valuable information. Thanks for taking some time for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayuri. It was my pleasure. And happy World Heart Day.
Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow with another informative video. Like, share and subscribe.